This is the story of a girl called Zhu Jingjing. It all starts with her determined to propose to the boy she likes, Gao Zhan. Everything could have gone well, but before she could speak, she was hit by basketballs repeatedly, many times in fact. But don't worry, she's not that unlucky. This was just a dream. The basketballs were actually her mother waking her up to go to school, as Jing was about to be late. Her mother realizes that she spent the sleepless night drawing emoticons. Jing confronts her mother and tells her that if she fights for real, she has no chance of defeating her. Meanwhile, Jing's father was preparing to perform a wedding. Then, as expected, Jing was no match for her mother. Moments later, when Jing is ready to leave, her mother reminds her that the results of a maths test are coming out soon, so she asks if she passed the test, to which she evades the question by pretending to act like her father and then running off without eating breakfast. On the way to school, Jing receives a donation for the emoticons she has made. The name of these is Pippi. Further on, she arrives at this small food stall from a man who was putting glue on his sign. Jing asks him for a fried pancake. But there are no more of these. Her only option is a plate that would take at least 10 minutes to make. Soon after, Jing looks at a boy with glasses at a table, so she asks him to let her sit to one side with the intention of asking him for a tray of buns. The boy refuses even though Jing offers him money, so seeing that she won't get what she wants, Jing gets up to leave. This makes the boy, because of his weight, fall off the chair. Jing tries to catch him so he doesn't fall, but this makes them both end up falling right on top of the glue. This is a problem as they clearly can't get unstuck, so they have no choice but to go together in a very embarrassing way, although the boy doesn't seem to care much until he realizes that he can tear his trousers. The students were whispering about both of them. The boy shares some food with Jing. She asks him what school he goes to which he replies that they go to the same school, but Jing had never seen him before. Things get worse for her when Jan comes by on a bicycle. She tries to hide so he won't see her, but it doesn't help much, as Jan soon after approaches them both to tell them that there are extra uniforms in the school room. Jing, embarrassed, tells the boy that he is a jinx. Later, they walk as best they can to the supply room to ask this teacher for new trousers. The teacher laughs a little at them as he has never seen anything like this before. Anyway, lucky for Jing, there are trousers in her size, but in the boy's case, he is size 70, so it is a size that must be pre-ordered. Moments later, this girl comes in, who tells the boy that there might be a pair of trousers in his size at the basketball club. The girl gives him the trousers. Moments later, he asks her name. She, like our protagonist, is called Zhu Jingjing, so in order not to confuse them we are going to call her Zhu. Realizing that they both have the same name, the boy tells Jing, but she only asks him to move away. From there we go to the classroom, where Jing meets her friends and she tells them about the embarrassing situation she went through and the shame she felt when Jan and Zhu saw her like that. Jing's friends tell her that she has to talk to Jan at least a little bit, as Jing always complained that she was far away from him, but since 10th grade until now, Jing has talked to him at least 10 times, mostly about homework. So to show that she is capable, Jing gets up and approaches Jan, but she gets quite nervous. She thanks Jan for his help earlier. The teacher enters the classroom, announcing that there is a new student. Yes, the boy that Jing met. His name is Kang, and he introduces himself to everyone. He also notices that Zhu is there and doesn't take his eyes off her. Then the teacher asks everyone to leave to rearrange the seats. Zhu wants to sit next to Jan, as she likes him, but he refuses and they take separate seats, after most of them have already entered. This boy called Nai Daping wants to sit next to Jing and tries to convince her, but Jing refuses. Besides, the teacher calls him first, so he doesn't need Jing's help anymore. The ones left to enter are Jing and Kang, so they sit together. The teacher mentions that Kang's grades in his previous school are very good. He was first place. So the teacher makes it clear to them that he will have to sit next to the worst student in the class. The class average is in 8th place thanks to several students having bad grades. At that moment they all turn to Jing, who, as expected, got a bad grade in the maths test. But Kang tells her that she did very well in the English test, and that in fact, the teacher made a mistake when checking. So they clear up this misunderstanding and Jing's English grade goes up a little. So moments later, Jing is no longer the worst student in the class. That position now belongs to Daping, so she celebrates her victory. Seeing that Kang helped her, she now considers him a genius and has no problem sitting next to him. So moments later, Jing asks Kang to let her copy from his homework, but not for free. She will pay him with Pippi emoticons autographed by herself. After that, Kang notices that Jing placed a mirror in Jan's direction to see him while they are in class. At lunchtime, Kang looks at Zhu and she approaches him. As they talk, Kang notices that Zhu is wearing an armband and starts wondering if she is that person. Zhu mentions that there is a basketball game coming up against Class 6, to which he asks her if she is interested in boys who play basketball. Her answer is that they all do. Plus, Zhu is part of the cheerleading squad, so she will be there. We come back to Jing, who is maybe too excited at the Taekwondo club because she wants to watch the basketball match. So she ends up knocking Xiaobai down. She, because Jing is so strong, wants to quit, but if they do, the club will be disbanded. Jing accepts it, but Xiaobai says she was just joking. Jing wants to sneak out to watch the basketball game, as her plan is to give him a letter expressing her feelings. And it doesn't stop there, because she also planned to give him a drink prepared by her mom. Later, Jing has to take a 10-question maths test with a few students. In the middle of the test, she wants to put her plan into action and tries to escape, but she is caught by the teacher. Kang returns home, where he begins to eat fried chicken and later to investigate about that bracelet Zhu was wearing, claiming again that he knows her. And yes, they know each other, but virtually, Zhu doesn't know that Kang is an overweight guy and Kang didn't know who Zhu is until now. So he has a fantasy where he imagines himself in another body talking to her and indirectly declaring his love for her. Kang asks Zhu if she would have a problem finding out that he is actually a 100 kilos guy, to which she replies that she doesn't care about that. Back to reality. Kang is excited and wants to play basketball to impress her. The next day, Kang and Jing meet and he shares a meal with her moments later. Kang asks her if she wants to copy his homework. Jing is surprised that he is so nice all of a sudden. Then, upon learning that she is good at Photoshop, asks her to help him with something. Later, Jan and the rest of the basketball players are worried that they don't have enough players, so Kang appears before Jan to hand him a basketball resumed photoshopped by Jing, as cool as it looks. That's no good and Jan knows it. Kang must prove his ability on the court, so he competes one-on-one against Jan. Moments later, everyone is impressed as Kang ends up winning, so there's no doubt Jan will accept him into the team. But that announcement was not for free, as they both agreed on something. The basketball game is about to start. While Jing is in the middle of the exam, here begins the part of the deal that benefits Jing. And that is that Kang will have to help her to do the exam, and he does it in a pretty fast time. So Jing finishes the exam and manages to leave on time. So she rushes to her mom's shop and prepares the drink she plans to give to Jan. The match has started. Jing finally arrives. Her friends make it clear to her that she has a rival right now, as the way Zhu looks at Jan is quite obvious. At halftime, Jing quickly comes down to hand Jan the drink, but at the same time, Zhu also brings her an oolong tea. In the end, Jan ends up choosing Jing's drink. The match continues, but something strange begins to happen with Jan. It seems that something hurts him, but it is not a sign of love. The reality is that the drink that Jing gave him has made him sick. So he has no choice but to go out and leave Kang in his place. He prepares himself and enters in a very extravagant way to get Zhu's attention. With Kang on the field, the class team managed to close the gap in the match. Moments later, Kang has the final point and starts to think about Zhu. Jing also encourages him, so he starts to move to throw the ball. But his shot ends up being blocked. He ends up hitting Jing and they end up losing the match. Yes, all wrong. Their plan went wrong. In pain, Jing finds herself on the way out with her friends. They ask her what kind of drink she gave Jan. She replies that it was his favorite drink. Moments later, Jing notices that she doesn't have the love letter she planned to give Jan. When she gets home, Jing doesn't want to eat dinner because she has no appetite. Her parents begin to suspect that she is in love with someone and try to help her. Then her mother asks her how she did with the dietary fiber powder drink, which is perfect for constipation, and this makes sense of Jan's discomfort after drinking the drink. The next day, Jing tries to avoid Jan out of embarrassment, but he approaches her. He is not upset about what happened, as he knows that Jing did not do it with bad intentions. This makes Jing's spirits rise. As for the letter, she mentions that she can write another one. In the classroom, this boy blamed Kang for the defeat in the basketball game. Then we see that the letter Jing wrote for Jan is in Kang's notebooks, but they snatch it out of his hands and plan to humiliate him because they think it is a letter Jing wrote for him. Jing arrives at the classroom and tries to take the letter back, pushing that fool, but teacher Chen just arrives. So Jing is summoned to the teacher's room to talk about what happened. Jing tries to lie, saying that the letter was written by Zhu. But Zhu's handwriting is not that ugly. Teacher Chen wants to know who the love letter was addressed to. As she starts to suspect that it is for Jan, Jing lies and tells her that the letter was for Kang. After Jing leaves, the dean approaches teacher Chen to tell her that Jing is someone with bad grades who is always up to something, so she cannot be allowed to waste her time falling in love. So the dean tells her that she must get to the bottom of the situation at all costs, even though it is a private matter between students. Jing vents at the Taekwondo club to the point where her friends have to stop her. Jing just wants to know who put the letter on Kang's desk, and talking about him, he was watching from the outside. Later, Jing is called back alone by teacher Chen, who after reading the letter thoroughly, realized that the recipient can't be Kang, as there are many things that don't make sense. But Kang shows up to save the situation and make sense of the letter, so he starts telling teacher Chen that he and Jing have known each other since high school. Jing plays along. Moments later, Kang says he is in shock as he didn't expect Jing to still have feelings for him, so he tells teacher Chen not to worry as he is not in love with her. This is so that Jing only has to do a self-inspection for the next day. The next morning, on her way to school, Jing runs the traffic light, and to make up for it and not be penalized, she has to stay there for a while and make sure people cross correctly. Moments later, Kang shows up to tease her and take pictures of her, not realizing that he was also crossing the line. Therefore, like her, he has to stay there. When Jing was about to leave, he distracts her by telling her that Jan was nearby. This makes the light turn red again and they both have to stay there. Meanwhile, Jing asks Kang why he said all those things the day before. He tells her not to be silly, as he did all that to help her. Otherwise, her feelings for Jan could have been exposed. Jing is upset with the person who placed the letter on Kang's desk, so she wants to find out who it was. Class starts and teacher Chen asks Jing to come forward, as she is to read the self-inspection she wrote in front of everyone, which will serve as a reminder to the whole class to focus on their studies. But when Jing is about to start reading, Kang intervenes to say that this is not right. Jan does the same, as this letter is Jing's privacy. Jing's friends also intervened. This served to make the teacher change her mind and let Jing sit down. When she leaves the room, teacher Chen meets the dean, who saw everything that happened. He tells her that she should not let the students control her. Teacher Chen mentions that she doesn't know if what she did was right or not, to which the dean replies that if she doesn't know, then why is she a teacher? Alleging that teachers and students get worse every year. Teacher Chen, angry, goes to the Taekwondo club event, where she meets this man, who heard her venting and tells her that she should follow her heart and not let others influence her. At lunchtime, Jing sits next to Jan. She wants him to help her find out who left that letter on Kang's desk. Jan thought the letter was for Kang, but Jing says no way. She says she'll explain everything next time. She knows Jan is smart, but he tells her that he has nothing to do with her cat and mouse game, so she refuses to help her. Kang doesn't know why she sought Jan out for help, to which Jing replies that last year Jan helped uncover a thief even before the police did. Jing's friends arrive to discuss what might have happened to the letter. After listening to them, Jing tells them both that they have made incredible observations, to which Jan starts to laugh. Later, Jan approaches Kang and Jing, this time with intentions to help. He says that they should take the letter again to find clues as to who might have taken it. Jan will help investigate the evidence, but cannot stay long, as he must accompany Zhu home, to which Kang becomes jealous because he thinks they have something. But Jing refuses to believe this. Jing wants to investigate the evidence with them, but she has a pending exam with Dean Zhang. Later, the exam starts and Zhang lectures them. Meanwhile, Kang and Jan were waiting for the exact moment to infiltrate the teacher's room, but they have little time. They must do it before Dean Zhang returns. Both infiltrate and put on gloves to investigate. Back in the exam, Zhang is about to leave, but Jing tries to buy time and almost succeeds, but Dapeng thwarts her plans. Zhang is on his way to the office, so these two must hurry. They take the letter to look for clues and find that there is gold dust in it. By the time Zhang returns, both of them had finished investigating. Jan rushes back to accompany Zhu home. She asks him why he suddenly started accompanying her, to which he replies that he only cares about her walking home alone. Zhu also asks him why he chose Jing's drink at the basketball game instead of hers, to which Jan replies that he just chose the drink he liked the most. Zhu tells Jan that she doesn't need company on Fridays, as she has things to do. In the evening, Jing and Kang talk about what they found in the letter, but Kang starts asking Jing if Jan and Zhu are dating, and she hangs up. The next day, Jing receives her grade from the last exam. It is not very good, so Dean Zhang scolds and tells her that she cannot be in any club with those grades, let alone be the president of the Taekwondo club, so she will have to retire until her grades improve. Jing doesn't want to leave the club, but she has no other choice, so she tells her friends that the club will be dissolved. They propose to be president, but none of them is qualified, but the club could be saved if someone with a black belt would come. That's when Jing thinks of going to see Jan. He immediately refuses because he has no interest in any club. It is then that Jing reveals to him that she, like him, is a black belt because she has trained since she was a child thanks to her father. All this leads to Jing challenging Jan to a fight. If she wins, he will be president of the club. Later, Jing starts training while being filmed. Xiaobai tells Jing that she shouldn't fight Jan because she is a lady. Jing thinks better of it and decides not to fight, but Kang shows up to convince her to fight him, but tells her to wash her feet first so as not to kill Jan with the stench, to which Jing gets angry and throws a kick. It is at this point that Kang notices that Jing has a bracelet just like Zhu's but on her leg, so when he returns home, he starts to overthink, because maybe the person he has been talking to online all this time is Jing and not Zhu. Kang goes down to dinner with his father. He tells him that they've had to move a lot, but Kang tells him it's fine. Moments later, Kang gets this thing in a package that looks like Pecs. The next day at school, Kang asks Jing how her preparation for the fight is going, and starts questioning her to find out if she is the person she has been talking to online. But Jing replies that she doesn't use that social network, she only uses Weibo. This makes Kang smile and cheer up, as he is now sure that the person is Zhu. The fight is about to start and the students place bets. Jan tells Zhu that he will finish the fight quickly to take her home. She will just have to wait. Meanwhile, Jing prepares to leave for the fight, but Jan was gone. To find out what happened, we leave 30 minutes before the fight. Zhu decides not to watch the fight and go to do something else. Kang notices it and decides to follow her. Zhu went out to dance, as she is dedicated to that. However, she was being recorded by a stalker. Kang realizes and attacks the stalker, but he ends up hitting him. Meanwhile, Jan was preparing for the fight, but when he was ready, he receives a call from Zhu telling him what happened, so he hurries to go. By the time Jan arrives, the stalker had already left and Kang was beaten. Jan tells Zhu that she should have told him that she was leaving to accompany her. The reality is that Jan is already aware of Zhu's stalkers, and it is for this reason that he insists on always accompanying her. He had not told her about this because he did not want to worry her and was not sure what was going on. but now he is. Dancing is what Zhu does, but in secret, she doesn't want anyone else to know, least of all her mother. It is for this reason that Zhu doesn't want to call the police, because if she did, her mother would find out that she is dancing. We return to where we left off. Everyone tells Jing that Jan has gone and the victory is hers, but she just gets discouraged and ends up leaving. She does so in the rain, where shortly after she also meets Kang and they decide to go for a meal together. Kang often comes to this restaurant moments later. He shows her how he usually eats this dish. Jing asks Kang what happened earlier. Meanwhile, Zhu tells Jan that he won't be dancing for a while. After Kang tells Jing everything, she now understands why Jan is so close to Zhu. Soon after, when Kang is about to pay the bill, he learns that the bill, as well as Jing's letter, contain gold dust, but he does not tell Jing about it for now. Later, at home, he goes through the photos of that day and gets a slight idea of who the person who placed the letter on his desk might be. Zhu writes to him and he replies that he is fine, to which he is then happy because she says goodnight to him. The next day at school, Kang takes the mirror away from Jing so that she won't keep seeing Jan and Zhu together and keep getting hurt, then tells her that he found a new clue about the letter incident. For that, he got this pom-pom, which has gold dust in it, which means the cheerleaders might be responsible. Kang shows her the pictures, but skipping Zhu, as he doesn't want Jing to suspect her, but Jing realizes and takes Zhu as the main responsible. This is because for Jing, since she was little, it is usual that Zhu was always ahead of her, and that bothered Jing. So they did not get along at all. For Jing, Zhu has always gone against her since she was little, and this time should not be the exception. But for Kang, Zhu does not seem a bad person at all. That is when Jing realizes that he likes Zhu. That is why Kang has no choice but to admit it, but clarifies that it is because he looks a lot like a friend of hers online. They both spy on Jan and Zhu to make sure they are just friends, but they are almost discovered. Kang tries to make Jing see reason. He tells her that it doesn't make sense that Zhu would sabotage her like that, to which Jing replies that she just wants to annoy her. At night, Kang investigates the social network for clues, looking for the profile of one of the cheerleaders, whose name is Lai Huya. There he finds something very useful, and that is that she has a video of the day of the match where, along with the other cheerleaders, they find Jing's love letter. Because of this, the next day Jing wants to go and confront one of the girls in the video, Why Zhu, but Kang tries to stop her, as they still have no clear evidence. So instead he wants to go and talk to Huya. Jing wants to start shouting at her, but Kang stops her and asks Huya for the full video she uploaded on the internet. After that, Jan approaches Jing to apologize to her. As an apology, Jan would accept to be the president of the club immediately, to which Jing replies that she doesn't need his sympathy and that she decided to close the club as they have too few members, so she tells Jan to forget about the bet. Kang sits next to Jing and they talk about what happened. Moments later, Lai Huya sends Kang the full video, so they watch it and notice how Wai Zhu was making fun of Jing. Zhu was trying to tell them that what they had done was wrong, but this didn't work. They even press Zhu to find out who the letter is addressed to. Kang stops Jing from watching the video, but it doesn't do much good. As she angrily goes to confront Wai Zhu, Jing asks her why they did that, to which Zhu doesn't understand how they both have that video. Zhu says that they have no concrete proof that she was responsible for placing the letter on Kang's seat. All Kang wants is for Zhu to apologize to both of them, but a sincere one. At first, she refuses, but due to the pressure and everyone whispering things about her, she ends up doing it, but not in a very sincere way, and then she leaves. In the evening, Jing and Kang eat together while talking a bit about everything. Jing worries about her reputation and always being compared to Zhu, to which Kang holds her hands and tells her that she shouldn't think like that, as she is the main character in her life and doesn't have to worry about what others say, as she is special. Happy about this, Jing decides to take a picture of Kang. Moments later, she edits it to make him look thinner. Kang is very surprised and wants the picture immediately to use it as his profile. That's when Jing tells him she cares about his health and they decide to form an alliance. Kang will help Jing with her studies, and she will help him to lose weight. They will both become a better version of themselves. The next day, they start immediately. Kang explains her failures to Jing. She must improve her grades in maths. She blames her genes, as her parents are not good at maths either. But Kang tells her that this has nothing to do with it. Furthermore, he warns Jing that from now on she must not copy other people's homework. Now let's go to Kang. Jing looks at his weight. It's 100 kilos. But Kang tries to convince her that he doesn't have that much fat either. Besides, he blames his genes too. After that, he decides that he will lose 30 kilos in 1 month. Well, no, 20 kilos. Jing prepares a strict diet plan for Kang, but even though he agrees, he wants to eat that piece of meat so as not to waste it. Jing won't let him do it. But moments later, Zhu comes over to talk to Jing. She just takes her food and leaves, so Kang takes the opportunity to eat the meat. Zhu wants to talk to Jing to apologize to her, and makes it clear that she only said those things because of the pressure she was under, but Jing doesn't want to listen to her apology, as she doesn't plan to forgive her, so she leaves. It is there that we see that from Zhu's perspective, it is Jing who has despised her and treated her badly since she was a child. Moments later, Kang approaches Zhu. She apologizes to him, and Kang accepts the apology immediately with a smile on his face, mentioning that we all make mistakes. The next day and from then on, Jing tells Kang that he must exercise for 1 hour and gives him a bracelet to calculate his heart rate and monitor Kang from a distance. Kang's first task is to jump 500 times over the rope, which is quite difficult, but Jing encourages him. At school, it is Kang's turn to help Jing. He does this by giving her an exercise book to solve in 30 minutes, and so the two continue to help each other and strengthen their relationship. Later, we see Kang getting ready to exercise and meeting his father, who immediately notices that he is doing this for a girl. His father offers Kang some shoes sent by his mother, but Kang refuses to accept them as he wants nothing to do with that woman. Arriving at the park, instead of training, Kang starts playing chess with a bunch of old men and gives the bracelet to one of them so that Jing won't suspect anything, but she calls him. As she notices slow and strange movements coming from the bracelet, Kang thinks she won't notice, but the reality is that Jing was right behind him and forcibly takes him away to start training.